Hello, Bob here, and today I'm going to be showing you a battle between myself and Otto. Uh, I'm going to be using my underused Sunny Day team against his OU kind of general team. Sorry about the lack of video quality, but, um, well, hopefully that's okay. And let's get started. Okay, so he leads off with his lead crobat, which is a bulky crobat, and it's got Super Fang, Toxic, Confuse Ray, there's sort of, and U-turn. I start off with Lickilicky, because he's immune to confusion. He knows this and starts off with Super Fang to just kind of chip away at my health. I decide to go with my Sunny Day, just to kind of get things started off on the right foot. I know he can't one hit me, so I figured just set up as well as I can. He decides to U-turn out, and I kind of predict this. I throw up a substitute. I know that's a weird choice, but I'll get into that a bit later. So he switches in his Togekiss, which is a Hax Kiss, as I throw up my substitute, and that'll let me kind of. I wanted to scout out what he'd do. I knew that Lickilicky could take a U-turn and just kind of stay in, because it's not an attacking Crobat. But so I've got my son, and he throws Aura Sphere, which is exactly what I had expected from his Togekiss. I decide to throw my substitute breaks, and I decide to throw my Fire Blast at him. I decided to do that because, just maximizing damage output, and that's my only real attack to use on him. And Lickilicky at this point is going to be completely useless down the road, but he did his job, and he set up my son, and, for 8 turns with Heat Rock and all that. So, he Aura Spheres me, and I go down. So at this point, the score is, Otto 5 Pokemon against Otto 6 Pokemon against my 5. And that's I'm not going to say that's a bad position for me to be in. Now I bring out something rather interesting on a Sunny Day team, a Golduck, and the reason for this is his ability Cloud9 allows me to attack with Golduck's stab water attacks, which you didn't see there. I just threw an Ice Beam at it because I knew that would kill Togekiss, and I get a crit, which is haha. Anyway, his ability Cloud9 allows me to throw stab water attacks even during Sun, but it doesn't cancel out the Sun itself. It just kind of allows me to just kind of... it definitely makes it so that my team's a bit more balanced, and I just think it's interesting. Anyway, so he brings in his Mechashiva or Metagross, and I get him a Surf. That's a good thing for me. It does about 50% damage, and he hits me with Earthquake. Now, surprisingly enough, Golduck actually will survive this. I kind of knew he would. Otto did not. He thought that would be a one-hit after Life Orb recoil, at least. It is not. I live, and so he decides to throw a Bullet Punch at me because he's not sure if he'll survive another Surf. It did about 50% damage, and we don't know if that was a high or low damage roll. So he does Bullet Punch to get me into Life Orb's KO range. I throw another Surf at him, and sadly we'll never know whether this would one-hit him or whether it would two-hit him or not, because I get a critical hit, and it does in fact kill him. Life Orb recoil will kill me, however. So now we're going to go to a blind double switcher, just pretty much just starting out again, because now we're each at 4 Pokemon. I decided to go with Victreebel being one of my better sweepers, or in good conditions he is anyway. He goes with Lucario. Now he knows Lucario cannot take a hit from Victreebel because Victreebel has Weather Ball, which becomes a 100 power fire attack during Sun, which would put it at 150 power. So he decides to go with Extreme Speed. I probably would have switched out if it were me, but he decides to stay in, do some damage, and let Lucario die, which is... I'm not complaining, just saying that. So Victreebel does in fact one-hit him, and that's always good. And he decides to bring in his Dragonite, who I really can't do anything against. I don't... at this point, I don't know whether it was his mixed attacking Dragonite or just his physical attacking one. But I kind of figured there would be an Extreme Speed coming, and I really didn't want to switch out Victreebel. even though I knew what it was going to be, simply because all sorts of different stuff. But anyway, my son's down, so I decided to bring an Ambipom. Now, being a dunce, I forget that that Dragonite has inner focus, so I decided to fake out, and yeah, so he blasts me with Earthquake, and it doesn't KO Ambipom, but it definitely puts him into the 2-hit range, which is sad. So at this point, I've realized I'm not going to be able to get Sunny Day up unless he does something like Dragon Dance, which I'm not hoping for either. He does decide to just go with the extreme speed, finish off my Ambipom, and so poor Ambipom goes down without having really done anything. But, you know, that's how it goes sometimes. Especially when your trainer is a dunce. Anyway, so I decide to bring in my Charizard, who does beat his Dragonite one-on-one. Charizard has Dragon Pulse, and it's a one-hit on Dragonite because it's a one-hit on any attacking Dragonite. My Charizard is Timid Nature, and so he goes with the extreme speed to just do as much damage as he can before he goes down. I hit him with Dragon Pulse, and we both know that this is going to KO him, especially at the amount of HP he has now. So yeah, and at this point it is 2-on-2, but Charizard's weakened, and he only has about 3 attacks left in him anyway. Otto brings an Iggy V.6, I believe. Anyway, I decided to go with Flamethrower rather than Sunny Day, because I know Charizard's only going to have 1 attack in him, and I know what I have left, he knows what I have left, and I know what he has left, and based on the current situation, it's definitely in my better interest just to get Iggy into KO range for my next Pokemon than to try and sweep 2 Pokemon that are at full health with 1 guy. I bring in my last guy. It's a Tangrowth, so it's 2-on-1. But Tangrowth is definitely my best Pokemon. It's an attacking Tangrowth with absolutely no bulk in terms of EVs, and he still tanks most any physical attack like an absolute champ. I managed to KO him with the Power Whip, which I'm glad I remembered at this point, since it was up against Iggy. With no guard, had perfect accuracy, and rather than the 85% that it normally does. So he brings in his Crobat, which is his lead against my last dude. He Confuse Rays me, which normally would be a death sentence for me, but I got rather lucky in this one. I managed to get off an attack, and it was the Rock Slide. Now, I know that Rock Slide is a 2-hit on his Crobat because it's a bulky Crobat, and Rock Slide is kind of underpowered. And this is actually why I decided not to use Sunny Day. I knew that Tangrowth is faster than his Machamp, which means he wouldn't be dynamic punching me. And even with Sun Up, he's still slower than Otto's Crobat. So, really, as long as Tangrowth can get off a couple of attacks, I win. And as it turns out, he does get off a couple of attacks, and I do win. It was a good battle. Not a lot of switching, not a lot of strategy, really, but it was kind of interesting just to see an OU team versus a UU team, and that's how it ended.